can be. All right, we are live. We're gonna do some sound checks here. Hello, everybody. How we doing tonight? Since it's a new setup. Wow, customize your dashboard in live. Facebook is advertising to me on a live video. Thank you, Facebook. All right, so we're going to get this going. Make sure we have everything working. Good. My wife's giving me the okay. I like it. Oh, this is so awesome. I'm excited. Got my... Ooh, check this out. Got this right before I went on complete lockdown on social media. I was like, thanks, babe. I love that. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to be using it for the next 6 months.
Yeah, oh, I love that. And then it sat in a box for like 4 months, so...
If you guys can't hear us, let us know. I'm really excited because, one, it's been far too long since I got on podcasts. And secondly, got the new equipment. This isn't obviously the end background. We have family in town, just got the kids to bed. But wanted to start this series tonight. Really excited. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through the whole book as a series. I wrote this up even because I think it's extremely important. Everything else is not scripted. But I want to read off of this because I have a couple quotes on here that I want to start the night with. I wanted to create this series because I think the book does a really good job at introducing people to things that I keep hearing feedback that, oh, I loved it from a business perspective, but it was really, really good for my personal life. I was like, that's a great idea to really integrate this into how people that don't care about anything with sales and why they actually are salespeople in everyday life. Case in point, Alyssa, she is not a salesperson.
No.
Polar opposite, if anything, right?
Yeah, I just don't really feel like I have the skills to be a salesman, even though I use a lot of the things that you talk about probably more than I realize that I do.
We'll probably find that out here shortly. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But I wanted this series to bridge the gap between sales in the business world and sales in everyday life. Because everything we do almost always has to do with human interaction, right? So we're doing it right now. Her and I interact. She probably doesn't want to, but we do. And those interactions change and they morph the experiences within us. And in essence, we're basically always on stage and selling ourselves without even realizing that we're trying to do it. And so I'm going to go through the book in the series chapter by chapter. We're going to use real world examples that we're just going to come up with because I love doing podcasts on the spot. I don't like to script too much. And we're going to take concepts that we have in the book and we're going to put them to practice, which is awesome. First episode tonight is going to be on chapter 1, which is called Love What You Do. It's about passion. And from a business perspective, we're speaking on being passionate and believing in the product and service we're providing. And we're going to be passionate about helping somebody solve a problem and the need of a client. From a personal perspective, but the question is, how does that translate into everyday life, right? So I believe the answer to this is it plays a role on both sides, and there's underlying things that passion does organically for us to help us get to where we want to be at in life. So I'm going to read off of a few things real quick, and then we're going to get right into the video because I don't want these to be 2 hours like most of my podcasts. I want to keep them to about a half an hour, give or take, and I want them to be something you guys can watch in one sitting and take a lot of things away from. So I actually took this from a webpage. There are no sales without trust, and passion for selling can cement trust between a salesperson and the prospect like little else can. When passion is genuine, prospects and customers know it, and they will respond to it by placing their trust in the person and the organization they represent. A passion for selling also helps people build trust because they truly want to understand the prospect and their customer and their unique needs and how they can offer fit into that. And when a person is fully invested in the offerings they represent, that passion can be contagious. That's going to be very important for your personal life. And then passion permits a salesperson to go after the best possible outcome, even if that is for the prospect and it's not what the person that's in the sales role is initially offering. So I want to start with just people, right? So, and I have examples, but when we talk about passion, what does that really mean to you, first of all, when you think about passion?
It's really believing in what you're doing, and that drives you to be better at it. And to, I don't know, for me, it's public service, with my job. I work in healthcare, so it's really just believing in what you do and driving forward with that and caring about people, really.
Yeah. She's not in a sales role, but she practices sales every single day at her job. And we're going to talk about that.
So he tells me.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to go through some examples. I want to start first with, let's talk about people, right? Because that's why is passion important in interpersonal relationships? So I'm going to ask you first, and I want you guys to think about this too. And you can put in the comments if you have a scenario of this. But I want you to think about who you naturally want to be around. So if you have a friend, a family member, husband, or somebody else that you like to be around, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, what is it that draws you to that person? And secondarily, on the flip side, who do you know in your life that the second their name pops in your head, you're like, oh.
We all have one of those, I feel
that
like.
person, I can't stand that person. I don't like to be around that person, okay? Because that's going to be very important. So first of all, you don't have to mention names, right? And it doesn't have to be personal, right? Give me an example of somebody that is in your life that you just always want to be around, and you can name names if you want to. What is it that you noticed about that person? What kind of traits do they have? What is it about that person that draws you to them?
For me, well, I'm just going to be weird and just say my kids. Like, I know that parenting is super stressful and my kids are really young, but our toddler is freaking hilarious. And he's so smart. Like, there's like things that come out of his mouth and I'm like, where did you even learn that? Like, that's so funny. So he just like, I think kids are just naturally just energetic and happy and excited all the time. And that's the kind of like person that I want to be around all the time is, somebody that is just excited about life. And that's what our toddler is. He's just excited to wake up in the morning and mommy and daddy, and it's exciting. But outside of that, really just people that genuinely care about other people. And you can tell when somebody doesn't genuinely care about another person or other people. And people who are not selfish, like they give their whole heart to whatever it is that they do. Those are the kind of people that really inspire me and that I would like to surround myself with. Just positive, energetic, smart, intelligent people.
So I'm hearing two things, mainly. So they were very energetic, high energy, and kids are always passionate, right? Especially at that age, that's all they want. Everything they do is 110%.
Right now it's like 110% dinosaurs.
All the time, dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs and animals.
And Ronan, we're talking about our oldest right now. Ronan loves dinosaurs, and he's so passionate about dinosaurs that I got passionate about dinosaurs.
I know like 20 different dinosaurs now.
And it's like, I want to watch Land Before Time and Jurassic Park all day, every day now. And so that's key, guys. That's extremely key. I didn't tell her what examples to use. This is why this is funny. The second half of that was somebody that was genuine. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really important. That's what I took away. So those are two things: energetic, and they're passionate, and they are genuine. And that's going to be huge. That's huge for sales, but that's huge in your personal life, right? So we'll get to the other side of the coin on that here too. But why is that important? So when you think about business and passion and being genuine, it's very, Brittany, hi.
Hi, Brittany.
Nice to see
Thanks
you.
for your support.
Get to see you next week.
I know.
So, but why are those two things so important when it comes to getting what you want or when interpersonal relationships, right? So in business, it's pretty obvious. If you're genuine, you're going to care more about the person in front of you when you're trying to sell something. And you're going to get, and back to my quote that I had at the beginning of this talk tonight. Okay, I'm going to read it again. When they're truly passionate about what they're doing, they understand the prospect and customer and their unique needs and how to fulfill that need. So you're going to go out of your way to try to fulfill that need. And then the energy level follows, because if you're not passionate, guess who else isn't going to be passionate? The other person. So if I'm on this podcast tonight going, okay, guys, so tonight we're going to go through this. She's going to have the same tone when she's talking, and I'm going to want to just... And it's going to be bad, right? So if I'm energetic, she's energetic. Awesome.
In theory.
In theory. In practice as well. Okay, so flip side of the coin. Let's look at the flip side of the coin. By the way, if you guys have personality traits or things that turn you on to somebody or turn you off with someone, put them in the comments. I want to hear what you guys like and dislike about certain individuals. Obviously, don't put specific names, just put traits. So think about people in your life that when you hear their name, your butthole just cringes up and you're just like, no, I don't want to hear that name.
That was very vivid. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I hope you guys like that. So what kind of traits do those individuals have? What is it about them? And like in all seriousness, when you think about it deep down, what is it about those people that really just turns you away?
The first thing that I thought of were like people that are insufferable know-it-alls. Like,
Jake, I love you.
you try to like teach somebody something or teach a group something, and then there's always that one person's like, oh, I already know how to do that. I don't need training on this. Drives me crazy. Because you can always learn and develop and be better at something. And it goes back to like the passion and compassion for the other people who may not know that thing, you know, like helping them get better at that thing rather than just saying, oh, I already know that. And then just leaving it at that. Like that just, irks me. I hate it.
So that's in the business world, right? So
that can be both business and personal.
Yeah.
You know, just somebody that like always wants to like one up you, you know?
So competition, right? Friendly competition.
There's a difference between friendly competition and somebody who really just wants to put you down to make them feel better about themselves. And I think we're all guilty of that at some point in their life. I know that I personally have done that before. Maybe not maliciously, but unknowingly. And then like in hindsight, I'm like, oh shoot, I kind of sound like an a-hole, you know? And then just trying to be better from learning from that experience. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Gabby said people that are fake. Ding, ding, ding. That is a huge pet peeve.
Well, that goes back to being genuine.
Genuine, right? So notice that these things are polar opposite, right? So when we talked about things we like about people, it's being genuine and having high energy. The polar opposite is people that are all in it for themselves, people that are fake, and people that are supposed mother-in-laws, according to Brittany.
Did you put that on there?
Yeah. So, but but it's funny, right? But at the same time, it's serious. So you organically don't want to be around people that are self-centered, people that are using their own purposes to drive to an end goal, right? So, and it seems kind of self-explanatory, but that's just something I notice in business and in personal worlds is that they try to make it look like, oh, back to the fake, right? I have worked with people in the past that try to make it look like they were in it to help others when you saw things behind closed doors or you felt the energy. And for people that are INFJs like me that can read through things really quickly and you feel that fake energy, it is extremely frustrating to be around those types of individuals. So why is that relevant, right? So let's go back to these two things. So we're talking about passion and why that's important. We know why it's important in business, but why is that important in our personal lives? Obviously, you want to make friends. People are just organically people that want to be friends with other people. I'm an introvert, 60%. And I don't like to be out in public in large groups, but I still need that interaction, right? Like I still need that interpersonal interaction with people. And if nobody likes me, it's going to be kind of hard to get that.
It's really funny with him though. Like we could be at completely opposite ends of the house and not talk to each other all day long. But as long as we're in the same vicinity, he's like, I'm cool.
I'm good to go. So when you're looking at this in a grand scheme of things, let's look at a couple examples now. For personal life, this is real examples for you guys, right? So how many people, raise your hand, put a yes in the comments if you have job interviews ever. Every single workplace in the world right now is trying to hire people. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to have interviews, right? How many people have ever moved to a new place, gone to a new school, gotten a new job, have to meet new people and interact with new people and try to build friends in a new place when their husbands make them move?
5 times.
Again.
In 7 years.
There's a lot of examples with this, right? So why is that important? Well, when you go into getting to know people, a lot of people don't pay attention to how they act or what they say or what they do. And I'm not saying that you have to just tiptoe around that stuff. Yep, Gabby's been there. But you have to be aware, self-aware enough to know how people are receiving what you're putting out. And that awareness will help you substantially, not only in the business world, whether you're in sales or not, but it helps you in your personal life as well. Like I, for example, know her cues, right? I know the eye roll. I know certain things she'll say, certain phrases that she'll say that if I say something to her and she says that phrase, what she's saying isn't what she means. And she actually has a completely different intention behind it.
I think that's probably with most women, to be honest.
But if I didn't pay attention to that and I wasn't self-aware, she would get more pissed off for me not knowing what's going on and what women want. Like she wants me to be Mel Gibson and I try to be. If nobody's seen that movie, it's phenomenal.
I have gotten much better over the years with sharing my feelings. And your picking up on that skill has gotten a lot better as well.
Read Brittany's comment.
I can't. I don't have my glasses on. I can't see it.
I had to meet this new person when I went to UCM. Her name is Alyssa, and she was a nightmare. I just wanted to play volleyball. So.
Rude.
Rude.
I did spell her name wrong on her T-shirt that we made.
Well, that's a problem. So that is important because I'm going to give a really good example of passion in the workplace and how that translates, right? So first of all, your job, even if you're not in sales, I'm not going to say where because I don't want to put this person under the bus inadvertently. I live in Wichita though. So went to get license plate registration for a new vehicle since I moved cities and my registration was up and I had to physically walk into the facility. I met a individual, not even going to say the sex, that was very, very unhappy, and I could tell that they hated their job. And I had a few questions because I was moving to a new county, state, Kansas City and anywhere else, because Kansas City has 2 states. It's really weird on how you register there versus here. Long story short, I asked some hard questions. She did not want to answer those said hard questions. Crap, I said she. Okay, I won't say
I
her
knew
name.
he was going to slip up. I was like waiting for it.
And quite frankly, I had a horrible experience. That person was very rude. I could tell they didn't like their job, and I could tell that after they got off work, they probably let that seep into their personal lives. And that probably impacted their relationship with their significant other, if they have that. And it probably impacted their relationship with potential kids. They were in their, I'm not going to give age. But that goes into every aspect of your life, right? Because if you don't love what you do, love what you do. If you don't love what you do for work, and that's gonna go over into your personal life. It's one, customer service, especially if you're in a customer service role. This is such a huge deal. You have to be able to put on that game face in the customer service role if you're facing with individuals, right? And I want to give a few examples of this as well.
I want to play a devil's advocate for a second, though.
Ooh, okay.
You don't know that she hates her job. You just know that she had a really bad day at that point. You know, maybe something specific happened at her job that just made her not like her job that day. I mean, for example, with me this week, I had a really stressful week at work. I took last week off, 4 days, and then I come back, and it's just, hard catching up, and it was super stressful, and that does seep over into your personal life. But I would never say that I hate my job. I love my job, but there are certain aspects of my job that I don't like, and there are certain days that are going to be harder than others.
When you're with the customer or somebody you're trying to help, how do you let that impact you?
I really try hard to treat everybody with dignity and respect and making sure that my patients are taken care of, but it can sometimes get frustrating and your tone changes, and especially for patients who are non-compliant or they kind of step over some boundaries. I had a patient, just for example, I've been working on getting a power mobility device for her for months, and I finally had made some progress. And then she had called her insurance company herself and initiated it, and now we're in an appeals process, and I felt like she had completely undid all of the progress that I had, accomplished over the last several months. And I just had to take a step back, and I did not call her that day because I knew that I was super frustrated with her, and she probably thought she was doing the best thing, but it just, why?
But I like that because you did a couple of things. One, you took a step back. You knew when to not say something. Secondarily, you looked at it from her perspective. She probably thought she was doing the right thing because she's trying to help herself out, right? So you looked at it from her point of view. And lastly, you didn't blow up on her.
No.
So you didn't ruin the relationship with her.
I haven't called her yet because I'm still mad about it.
And I think that's really good to point out because there's a lot of great things that you did in that scenario.
I have grown as an individual, especially in the role that I'm in, because I've worked for Humana for a little over 3 years now, and I've been in the current role for a little over 2, and I have learned those skills because there are certain patients that you have to have a little bit more of that balance with, and then there are other patients that I work with that I can be like straight up like, hey, this is what's going on, and then that's what they want from you, and that's what they expect. So you kind of feel out your patients, what their individual needs are throughout the whole process. So,
but it's something you learned that you were able to do, and it helps you. Like
Yeah.
you have, I'm sure you have a customer feedback rating. I mean,
We do.
somehow.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have
So
our stars ratings.
so you have stars ratings, and that's important because obviously, if your stars ratings aren't high enough, you're going to get talked to by somebody that's above you at some point, I'm assuming, and that coaching can turn into a pip or whatever the heck you guys do. Long story short, it's a trickle down effect, right? It's a snowball effect. So these things add up. So I want to get more personal because we're still talking work, even though it's not sales, it's still work. I want to change gears into the personal, like true personal.
But that did float over into my personal life too. Like I legitimately stepped away from my laptop and took a 15-minute walk. And I was a little snippy with you this week, just with like, please don't bother me. Like, stop texting me. Like, I can't talk to you right now. I was, yeah. So that stuff, the professional piece of it is just as important as the personal piece of it, because it just sometimes it intertangles. You have to find a way to put boundaries on letting that flow over into your personal life, as far as the bad aspect goes.
So let's change this over to truly personal lives. We have family we're friends with, like we have family that we interact with, we have friends we interact with, we have significant others we interact with, we have kids we interact with. Kids are probably a good test of this. So what I do with my kid, right? So I'm going to give you some examples here. So I was in sales for a long time and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And actually this is why I do these podcasts, because I miss it so much. And one of the things I utilized was everybody who's seen the movie Inception. If you've seen the movie Inception, this is actually referenced in my book. Comment your favorite part of that movie in Cliff Notes, by the way. I don't want a book. Inception. Okay. Ooh, 5-star podcast from Troy Donahue. Hey, everybody clap. It's TD. Thank you. So in Inception, one of the things that's really cool is they're planting an idea into somebody else's head to make it organically feel like it's their own idea, right?
I know where you're going with this now with Ronan.
So you use this in business, right? So when I was in the fitness industry, and I did this for the betterment of the person, that's key. I did it for the betterment of the client. I asked certain questions and I guided the conversation so I could get answers and responses that I knew I needed to have in order to fully help these individuals. And the sleeping. The sleeping is Troy's favorite part. And so, long story short, I was able to guide that conversation effectively. And in the end, I was able to get that person exactly what they wanted, whether or not they knew that. They thought that they had gotten what they wanted because they felt in control of the conversation. But in essence, I was guiding those conversations because I wanted to make sure that sometimes people know what they want, and that's great. But sometimes a lot of people don't really have an idea of what's best for them or what they want.
Yeah, they usually they know what they want to achieve, like the end goal, but they don't really know how to exactly get
how or
there.
where
Yeah.
or what the process is.
Right.
So with my son, okay.
Terrible twos are real.
Terrible twos are definitely real.
And I hear they last until they're like 5.
Yeah, terrible threes are worse from what I hear. I don't know what you guys think. Are terrible threes worse than terrible twos?
Yeah,
because
let
I
us
keep
know.
I keep hearing that. With my son, he is at that stage in his life where anything that we try to make him do is a big no-no. and an outrage comes out. He goes from extremely sweet to the sour.
He's literally a Sour Patch Kid.
Sour Patch Kid.
If you've ever seen those commercials, that's Ronan.
That's Ronan. And so what we have to do is we have to say the right things to him to get him to make him think it's his idea. And then when it's his idea, so I could say, hey, Ronan, go night-night, go to bed. And he'll just throw a hissy fit. But if I go, hey, Ronan, do you want play with your dinosaur and your giraffe in bed and read a book? And he'll be like, oh, yeah, I love dinosaurs. Let's go to bed. And it's his idea at that point. Success. You just made a sale. You just made a sale right there. Like, you might as well go get a $200,000 a year job now because you're so freaking awesome at what you do. So, but seriously, this is real translatable skill sets that you can use in sales and in your personal life. So another thing, right? So we can use a whole bunch of different tactics. What have you used on me? How do you get me to do what you want me to do?
I tend to say, like, we need to take out the trash tonight. Or we should probably make sure the dishes are clean before we leave for the weekend. And if I just keep saying we, then eventually he'll be like, oh, I should probably do the dishes before we leave for the weekend.
But she's not.
I should probably put the trash out tonight.
But if she's negative about it and she goes, so here's where passion comes back into play. The whole topic, right? The whole topic of tonight's conversation is passion. If she says, Brian, do the I'm going to go, what crawled up your today?
So I learned this skill from my mom. She does this to my stepdad all the time. She always says, we should probably, and then Terry ends up doing it.
I hope they watch this. But if she uses the right terminology and she does it in the right tone, hence the passion, right? It's going to help me want to do it. So
it's his idea.
Yeah, it's my idea then. So kind of going around full circle, because I do want these videos to be half an hour. So I kind of want to wrap up a lot of this, because what we're going to do every week, which I'll talk about this at the end here in a second, we're going to basically add to this every single week. So
I do have a work story I want to share for our passion piece of this.
Okay, for the passion piece. So I want to go through that now then.
Okay.
Ooh, one sec. We is a thing in my house too. We need to change that. We need to change that poopy diaper. I don't know what that.
I use that one a lot too.
Yeah, we alternate poopy diapers. Okay, so passion becomes huge because it builds trust, which trust is the foundation of every single interaction you're ever going to have in your life. Because if people don't trust you, they're not willing to open up to you at all. They will guard themselves on truly acting like they should act around you, or how they want to act around you. And I could go into some of these examples. If you look at the world today, nobody trusts anybody. It's very scary. There's a lot of stuff going on out there, and ultimately that's due to a lack of trust and being able to be open and have open conversations with other individuals. But I want you to go through your story quick before we kind of do the wrap up.
Okay, so we had a patient. He's a hot mess, but he was recently discharged from the hospital, diagnosed with a DVT. And he came in for his post-discharge follow-up with our nurse practitioner, and we found out that he literally does not have a bed to sleep on. He does not have any furniture, like a chair to sleep in. So she posted in our Teams group and asked, like, does anybody have any resources or know where I can help this guy? And that just kind of weighed really heavy on me. I was actually like thinking about it last night when I was getting ready to go out to eat with my volleyball friends, and I just kind of felt sick to my stomach. Like, nobody should have to sleep in their wheelchair 24/7 because they literally do not have a bed. It just made me sick. So I started reaching out to some of my contacts, some of my liaisons that I work with in like the hospice, home health realm. And my lovely, lovely, wonderful friend with one of the hospice agencies that I work with, she had 3 people offer to donate a recliner to this gentleman within like an hour of me texting her.
That's so awesome.
And then she took a further step and she had transportation to pick up the recliner and deliver to his home this afternoon. So now he has, it's probably a $300 to $500 power recliner for free that was given to him today.
Did you get to follow up with him?
I did call him today just to make sure that everything went great, and he was like, he had tears in his eyes, and I could just hear that he was like choked up, and he was just like so thankful. I'm gonna like cry because I was just like, I texted Brian today and I was like, I seriously love my job. I had a really hard week, and today is exactly what I needed to remind me like why I do what I do. I do so much more than what my job title says. Like, really genuinely caring about people is so important with, working in public service. And I mean, I touched him and I changed his life today, and it was wonderful. And I'm going to carry that with me forever. Seriously. So,
I'm going to close with this because I think it's a very good closing point on passion. Because she brought it up. I have a handful of stories that I love from the fitness world. I don't want to go through them tonight, but there's watching people have that aha moment, or watching people have the tears in their eyes from a change that's been positively impacted in their lives is so rewarding. And when you think about life overall as a whole, and you look at people nowadays and they're searching for purpose, right? Like if you look at my blog posts on my website, which is on my main page, I do blog posts, and I have 2 posts on purpose and how you really get into that and fulfill it. one of the keys for fulfilling purpose is finding something you're really good at and utilizing that to help other people and being selfless. And one of the things I'll be kind of open to, one of the things that I've been really bad about in my life is volunteering for things. And because, you know, we have this excuse that we're so busy, right? Like, oh, I'm too busy to do this. I got my kids, I got work.
I'm the opposite. I have a hard time saying no, and I overwhelm myself.
I used to do that, which is also a bad problem that we can talk about on a different call. But I don't volunteer for things that are truly impactful, right? And so I saw this post from on my military email about volunteers that were needed for Special Olympics teams, right? And I reached out to them and kind of looked at the details, and the Andover Special Olympics team just north of us needed volunteers to help coach their team. And I was like, I have a huge fitness background. I love coaching and mentoring. These are individuals that need it more than anybody, and they have such a hard work ethic, and they push and they push. And I was like, I want to help this. Like, I want to do this. And I was like, when can I be there? He's like, Monday, let's do it. Awesome. But when you do stuff like that, and I'm so excited to do this, you really fulfill a spot in your soul and your heart that you didn't realize had a gap in it. Because a lot of people search their entire lives for something like this, and they didn't even realize it was right in front of them. Like, oh, I was self-centered. I was selfish. All I cared about was what was going to get me to my end goal, when my end goal is truly through helping other people get towards their end goal through my field of expertise. And that is why passion is so extremely important.
That's a definition of leadership. I mean, growing other people, you know, I mean, you lead by example, and that's how you make other people successful, is by being that example.
As a leader, you are as successful as your team. If your team is not successful, there is something going on, and that's something you have to look at. I've been part of really successful teams. I've been part of not successful teams, and I've had to intrinsically look at that and go, what am I doing wrong? And sometimes it's us, sometimes it's not. So closing out, this was passion. If you watched this, one, thank you, first of all. Secondly, I wanted you to comment below in your biggest takeaways and how you're going to use passion in your life, whether it's in your workplace, your personal lives, etc. Just comment below on what your favorite part was and what you want to take away. Secondarily, just to close out on this, we're going to be doing this every week, and we're going to build on every chapter of the book. The book is on sale. Yes, I'm going to throw this out there right now and do my sales pitch. It is on sale for 14% off right now. It's on Amazon. All you have to do is type in the books, Amazon books. Don't be a dick, but it's an asterisk because I don't want to be on a PC. I want to be a dick or on PC. And you can follow along and read the chapter, and then before we get to the next segment on the next Friday, you can read the next chapter, and it's going to be a core essence of what we go through during that video. So it'll allow you to get more out of what we're talking about. So comment what your biggest takeaway was and how you're going to use it. Next week, we are going into chapter 2. And I will be putting those topics up and what we're going to be talking about on the Facebook page for my Subtle Art of Sales page and on my personal page. Guys, thank you so much tonight. I'm looking forward to reading the comments of what you took away. Give us any feedback you have. If she looked way better than I did, just don't comment on that, please. I already know that. Thank you. Have a great night. God bless. Bye.
Bye.